The network service of the NTA. I'm Rhoda Obo. We're glad you could join us. President John Mahama of Ghana has joined other African leaders to congratulate Nigeria for the successful general elections and for the statesmanship displayed by President Jonathan on the aftermath of the 2015 election. The Ghanaian president stated this during a solidarity visit to President Jonathan at the presidential villa Abuja. State House correspondent Shegun Laule reports.
Warming for President Mahama, Chairman, Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, to have seen Nigeria's general elections held and turned out to be free and fair. It will be recalled that John Mahama, prior to the elections, visited to give a solidarity message to Nigeria to consolidate our democracy by having a peaceful and transparent elections, leading to the current peace and stability enjoyed in the country. Ghana's president used the opportunity to commend President Jonathan for his statesmanship, which has earned him respect of the international community.
We expect a smooth transition, and considering the role that Nigeria plays in ECOWAS, being the biggest economy not only in our sub-region but on the whole continent, Nigeria is a very important member of our sub-regional bloc, and we expect that Nigeria will continue to play its prominent role in the ECOWAS sub-region.
While behind closed doors, the two leaders discussed several issues concerning ECOWAS, especially the impending summit, as John Mahama underscored the special relations between Ghana and Nigeria.
Ghana and Nigeria will continue to hold a special relations and be very close to each other. We share the same values, and more often than not, we agree on international issues, and so we'll continue to share that relationship, and I'm sure it will make the bonds between our countries even stronger.
In the State House, Shegun Lawale, NTA News.
And also, Ivorian President Alhassan Ouattara has also met President-elect Muhammadu Buhari at a closed-door session at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. He said the visit was part of congratulating General Buhari for his victory at the polls and to commend Nigerians for the peaceful conduct of the 2015 general elections.
It gives a great pride to all of us as West Africans and Africans. The peaceful way the election ended with alternance is a lesson for all African countries. You will recall that in my own country, in Côte d'Ivoire, in 2010, when we had the presidential election, although I got elected, the former president did not want to leave office. So we're very proud of the Nigerian people. Côte d'Ivoire and Nigeria will continue to work hand in hand.
On his part, the president-elect noted that President Goodluck Jonathan deserves a commendation.
All I did was thank him very much for coming to congratulate us. And I think more specifically to congratulate President Jonathan for his statesmanship, because when he referred to his own experience, where he was under siege for more than 4.5 months, because his predecessor refused to acknowledge his winning. In Nigeria, the opposite happened, hence we are enjoying the peace.
The Ivorian president was on a one-day visit to Nigeria and has since returned to his country. In the meantime, President Goodluck Jonathan has relieved the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, of his appointment and duties with immediate effect. This is contained in a statement by presidential spokesman Reuben Abati. He says President Jonathan has also appointed Deputy Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase as Acting Inspector General of Police, also with immediate effect. Until his appointment, Mr. Arasa was the head of Force Criminal Intelligence and Investigation Department. He holds a bachelor's and master's degree in law, as well as bachelor and master's degree in political science and strategic studies. He's also a fellow of the Nigerian Defense College. The Senate has suspended Tuesday's plenary as a mark of honor and respect to honor the Senator Chukwumerije, who died last Sunday. National Assembly correspondent Adamu Samba reports on the mood of the Senate the first legislative day since the demise of the quintessential.
The atmosphere in the Senate chamber was soberly as senators come to terms with the reality that one of them, Senator Uche Chukwumerije, is no more. Tuesday's plenary therefore lasted less than 10 minutes, during which votes and proceedings of the previous session were adopted, while the Senate President read a letter from the Chukwumerijes on the burial plans for their patriarch.
May the soul of our departed colleague, distinguished Senator Uche Chukwumerije, and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
The senators, led by the Senate President David Mark, later took turns to sign a condolence register in honor of the late Senator Uche Chukwumerije.
A great patriot, a very great Nigerian, a quintessential legislator, somebody who has love for this country.
His contributions on the floor of the Senate was very much legendary, national, and passionate.
He was very passionate for emancipating the Nigerian masses from the shackles of poverty, illiteracy, and all the negative tendencies that have kept Nigeria from moving forward.
He was a big voice in Igbo land.
He has been a great man of Malamini Kano. So he's somebody really we value and cherish.
Comrade Uche Chukwumerije, lived a well-spent life.
He criticized on principles, without minding whether you are PDP, APC, whatever it is. He is very, very objective.
And very passionate about things concerning Nigeria and Nigerians.
Former Deputy Senate Leader, Senator Jonathan Zingina, and other former lawmakers were also in the National Assembly to honor their late colleague and political ally.
So I will remember him, and most Nigerians will remember him as a forthright, downright champion of the working people, and particularly champion of a true united Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the Senate President David Mark has visited the Maitama residence of the late lawmaker, where he commiserated with the family over the loss.
Whatever it takes for us to give him a befitting burial as a Senate, we will do that.
The remains of the late Senator Uche Chukwumerije will be laid to rest on the 23rd of May this year. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Ondo State House of Assembly serves impeachment notice on State Deputy Governor Alhaji Ali Olanusi for alleged gross misconduct. And concerned civil society and gender advocate groups want INEC to investigate allegations of irregularities raised by the APC governorship candidate in Taraba State, Aisha Al-Hassan, during the inconclusive April 11 polls to ensure credible supplementary elections. Correspondent Kenneth Nani reports.
To further show solidarity and support to the APC governorship candidate, the groups urged INEC to probe non-use of card reader machine for accreditation of voters, collation of results in non-INEC designated areas, violence, complicity of INEC officials, and the use of security agencies to aid election by the opponents, as alleged by the candidate.
We will use this medium to implore for investigation into the irregularities that have marred 11 other local governments, for which she says she has evidence to adduce, should be looked into.
We are just asking that please INEC should endeavor to give us a level playing field where she will be able to participate, not just because she's a woman, but as a Nigerian, because we see these are some of the challenges women face in politics.
They also called on international observers to monitor the supplementary election to ensure a free, fair and credible election. In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
In a show of solidarity with the Senate, the House of Representatives adjourned its sitting this Tuesday in honor of Senator Uche Chukwumerije, who died on Sunday. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor reports that the lawmakers rose in prayers for the repose of the soul of the three-time senator.
House this Tuesday was solemn with the demise of the three-time senator representing Abia North. Speaker Aminu Waziri Tambuwal read to the House a communication from the National Prayer Breakfast Committee. Representative Seconte Davis led in the prayers for the deceased senator.
We pray, O Lord, that you give those of us who have lost him, as we can't lose, the strength to bear this irreparable loss.
After signing the condolence register with others, Speaker Tambuwal said Senator Uche Chukwumerije's contribution to the Nigerian legislature would remain indelible in the history of nation building.
I believe that all of us, and particularly lovers of democracy, will miss his robust contributions and support for our growing democracy.
One very particular incident that I will continue to remember all through is our struggle to facilitate a truce between the federal government and the ASU during the unfortunate prolonged strike. It's always there, sometimes 12, 1 o'clock, nocturnal approach to some of these leaders to ensure that we broker truce between ASU and the Nigerian government.
His disposition towards fighting for what is right. He was a man of great pedigree.
The House reconvenes on Wednesday, the 22nd of April. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
Conference on Women Participation in Governance. Let's join Vera in our Lagos Network Center for details of this and other reports making the rounds in that zone. Hello, Vera. Good to see you.
And you too, Rhoda. You're looking radiant. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. Another fire outbreak has occurred again in Lagos. The popular sawmill market in the Oko Baba area of Lagos was raised by fire today. The incident, which left the traders devastated, destroyed goods running into millions of naira. And reports.
This is not the first of fire outbreaks in this market. This time around, eyewitnesses revealed that the inferno started at about 2 o'clock in the morning after traders had long closed for the day's business.
As far as fire services are concerned, they try their bits. Logistic matters, security-wise, as government have rightly directed them, before they go into any environment because of possible attack, they must get in touch with the police.
And make government, make them tell them, make them, if something fire happen like this, make them they fast come help us.
Respondents pointed out that the cause of the fire is unknown and that extent was further aggravated by the presence of large quantities of woods in sawmills situated at the market.
And unfortunately, there is no electricity or light to notice it in time.
We are not talking of thousands, we are talking of billions of naira that have just happened here. If you yourself can see what is happening over there with the plants and everything that happened there, you know that there are many losses.
As at the time of filing this report, tongues of fire were still emanating from under the rubble. Residents use it themselves, trying to put out the fire in their little way. Traders are already calling on the government to give them a soft landing following the incident.
This place employs a lot of workers. So it's not only the businessmen that are affected. It affects the laborers, the artisans.
It will be recalled that a similar incident occurred last week Wednesday at the Maman Kontagora house on the Lagos Island. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Participation of women in governance at all levels has been identified as a contributing factor to good governance. President of the Coalition of Concerned Women for Good Governance, Erelu Abiola Dosunmu, stated this at a media briefing in Lagos. Ken Egbelue has details.
Erelu Abiola Dosunmu told newsmen that the world over, gender responsiveness is a measure for determining the socio-economic development of a nation. She noted that while laudable efforts were being made to include women in the machinery of governance, there is need for more women to be included in the decision-making process and in the execution of these decisions. Abiola Dosunmu also advocated the protection of the rights of women and the girl child. This, she believes, will lead to more effective and efficient running at all sectors.
through inclusion in policy-making process of this country, because they know where these shoes pinch. And if they are part of that decision-making, then they'll be able to make valuable contribution into policies of governance.
Adequate security, economic empowerment of women, construction and maintenance of roads, job creation and employment opportunities are some of the concerns put forward by the women for the incoming administration to take into consideration.
It is important that a concerted effort should be made, structure should be put in place deliberately to empower women economically.
The Coalition of Concerned Women for Good Governance is a non-governmental organization with the objective of promoting the cause of women in the country. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has advised Nollywood practitioners and other intellectual property owners to put together a committee that will liaise with the state government towards producing a draft for a law prohibiting piracy. The governor stated this while addressing members of the Nigerian entertainment industry who staged an anti-piracy protest in his office. Jessica Moses reports.
Addressing the Nollywood stars over their plight in terms of piracy, Mr. Babatunde Fashola noted that though technology has enhanced development in the industry, it has also made piracy an easier business for perpetrators. He, however, added that technology could also be used to tackle the challenge. According to the governor, community-based cinema and an enabling law and enforcement will go a long way in curbing activities of pirates.
By legislation, you can make it uneconomical and not necessarily take life. The death penalty, whether we should continue or not, is a debate that is going on, and it really has not solved any problem. So let's get more creative as far as I'm concerned.
Speaking earlier, the film producers led by Mr. Tunde Kelani emphasized that films worth over $200 million are being presently pirated in Alaba market.
A trend in the sense that films made with $200 million still in the cinemas, not officially released, are pirated and sold openly on the streets of Lagos unhindered.
Part of the protest were musicians, authors, and other intellectual property owners. In Lagos, Jessica Moses, NTA News.
And that does it from Lagos. Back to you, Rhoda, for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Vera. The killing of Nigerians and other African nationals in South Africa has drawn the anger of some Nigerians under the aegis of One Africa initiative. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that the group toured some South African investments in Abuja.
From MultiChoice Nigeria, owner of DSTV, to MTN, and then to the South African Embassy, the group continued to chant solidarity songs to express their grievances.
This solidarity movement is to demand an immediate stop to the killings of Nigerians and other non-South Africans in South Africa.
Today, Nigerians are experiencing the hardest of times in South Africa.
Their businesses are being looted. For what reason? For the singular fact that they have chosen to live in a country that is different from theirs. Is it an offense?
It was a peaceful protest until security operatives at the South African Embassy attempted to restrain them.
It's our own pain. We have time-tested relations with Nigerians. Yes, of course, a lot of problems are happening on the ground. But we say beyond this, let us remain friends. We are one people.
See our Nigerian police. They are ready to protect these people.
In Abuja, Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Still on xenophobia attacks on Nigerians, various groups protested at the South African Embassy in Abuja, giving the South African government a 24-hour ultimatum to put an end to intimidation of Nigerians and other South Africans. Correspondent Ayodeji Abdul-Malik reports.
Protesters demanded that both South African government and the federal government of Nigeria should respond quickly to stop the xenophobic attack on foreign nationals living in South Africa.
to assure us that nobody will be killed, no Nigerian will be killed.
If necessary actions are not taken, we are going to be picketing all South African interests in Nigeria.
While I am holding the flag now, I'm holding Nigerian flag to show that Nigeria and South Africa, they are friends.
Sembizo Zogwe, an official of the South African Embassy, responded to the protesters.
The government of South Africa has deployed necessary people to put or to bring this problem under control.
Despite the ongoing xenophobic attacks in South Africa, it is surprising to know that some Nigerians are still seeking visa to travel to that country, like this young man, Dennis Arokoyo.
I have a very genuine reason why I have to be there.
Meanwhile, reports from South Africa indicate that the authorities have arrested more than 300 suspected masterminds of the attacks with a promise to bring them to book. In Abuja, Ayodiji Abdulmalik, NTA News.
And the worsening attacks on African nationals in South Africa, which has claimed lives and property, has continued to elicit various negative reactions with a call for an end of such attacks. Amina Nigerian reports that Nigerians are said to have lost property worth over 21 million naira. Discussants on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, looked at the widespread xenophobia happening and the root causes.
It is not the best of times for foreigners living in South Africa, as their South African hosts are unleashing terror on them. Several foreigners of African descent have been killed since violent mob attacks took over streets of Durban. The South African High Commissioner to Nigeria believed that the perception of South African youths that foreigners are taking over their job is a product of challenges of a fast-growing South African economy.
We are dealing here with a population that is moving, that is always in conflict with the resources provided.
Other guests on the program disagree with the High Commissioner on the root cause of the attack.
Regardless of the manner of acquisition of nationality, the moment you have the tag foreigner, when there is hostility against you, you talk generally about xenophobia.
I think one thing which has not been mentioned is what the role that apartheid South Africa played in building a negative relationship between South African blacks and the rest of Africa.
The history of anti-apartheid era is being forgotten or is being deliberately diminished by the government.
On evacuation of foreign nationals out of South Africa as a solution, guest views were varied.
There is no need to evacuate now. People are protected.
There is a distinction between reactive policy and preventive policy.
That we should put pressure on African ministries of foreign affairs to come up with more imaginative diplomacy rather than traditional European diplomacy.
The guests were unanimous in calling for the unity of African countries to end such violence currently being witnessed. In Abuja, Amina Nigerian, NTA News.
We now take you to Sokoto, where elected representatives in Sokoto receive certificate of return. Bala brings us up to date on this and more from our Sokoto Network Center. Hello, Bala. You're on.
Thank you, Rhoda, and welcome to Sokoto. The Independent National Electoral Commission has presented certificate of return to Sokoto State Governor-elect, his deputy, and members of the National Assembly. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila has details.
The certificates of return were presented by the INEC National Commissioner in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara states, Hajia Amina Bala Zakari. She commended the contestants of all political parties for their support and cooperation during the two elections across the state. Hajia Amina Bala Zakari urged the elected leaders to carry everyone along for the sustenance of peace and unity in the country.
We are here today to present your certificates and the beginning of your tenures as elected representatives and executives for the Nigerian people.
The certificate of return was presented to Governor-elect Aminu Waziri Tambwal, his deputy Ahmed Aliu Sokoto. Others include Sokoto State Governor Aliu Magataka Dawamoko, who is the senator-elect representing Sokoto North District, Ibrahim Abdullahi Gobir of Sokoto East and Ibrahim Abdullahi Dambaba of Sokoto South District. The National Commissioner also presented the certificate to NTA News.
President Muhammadu Yusuf of Niger Republic says the election of General Muhammadu Buhari as president will bring about the much-needed change Nigerians are yearning for. This is contained in a congratulatory message sent to Sokoto State Governor through Majority Leader of the country's parliament.
government is trying to do now is to ensure that any child that wants to transfer from one state A to B could do so without any hindrance. And that is the essence of the uniformity, the advantage of it.
I charge all the delegates to bring their expertise to bear so that posterity will remember them for improving the standard of education in Nigeria.
The effective implementation of the guidelines for the harmonization of basic education certificate examination, experts say, will translate into collective ownership of the document, improvement of quality and standard of education, especially at the basic level. In Abuja, Franca Uzoma Olwa, NTA News.
Stakeholders there on harmonizing basic education certificates. Time now to take some messages. Nationwide returns in just a moment. Don't go away.
A public presentation and launching of a dictionary of Egon names under the distinguished chairman, Pharmacist Joel Adagazu, founder, board chairman, Egon Development Foundation. Keynote address by Professor Idris Amali, Director, Center for Language Development, Federal University, Lafia, Nasarawa State. Date, Thursday, 23rd April 2015. Time, 11 a.m. prompt. Venue, National Press Center, Area 10, Abuja. Planning Committee, announcer.
An agenda setting for the incoming administration, alternative sources of power, is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live. Tuesday Live, informative, incisive, and engaging. Don't be told. Join us.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Thanks for being there. You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Suleiman Hashimu, the man who vowed to come to Abuja on foot from Lagos if Buhari wins the presidential election, has successfully fulfilled his vow. The young man arrived Abuja after 3 weeks of over 700-kilometer trekking. Hamis Rogo captured the arrival into the capital city.
Of man to fulfill a voluntary pledge. It is the story of Hashim Suleiman, the man who in the build-up to the 2015 general elections vowed to trek from Lagos to Abuja if General Buhari wins the presidential election. In the end, Buhari wins and Hashim treks. Hashim arrived his Monday amid celebration by committees. In Abuja, Hashim's status borders on being a celebrity and royalty. Thousands come out to cheer him. Thousands stood out to watch him. Security details keep eye on him. Traffic was impeded. The atmosphere was carnival-like.
So how does it take? What's the feeling like?
Well, it was so great because people do encourage me, so that makes me give me strength. Okay. My journey was successful. I thank God I arrived Abuja today.
Okay. Do you have any pain, sickness, or anything?
Actually, not at all.
So how do you feel fulfilling this vow?
Actually, by seeing people, I feel so happy.
Standing at this strategic point, let me reflect on what many people are saying. Why, of all the difficult tasks in this world, would this man decide to trek from Lagos down to Abuja just to fulfill a vow? Many people are asking, is this man related to a Fulani? Has he a nomadic instinct?
It's very surprising.
He has taken a vow to do that.
Is that what?
He has taken a vow to do that. That if Buhari wins an election, he was going to do that.
Yeah, that's commitment. And it's highly commendable.
I saw him day before yesterday along Niger State, and I'm proud of that. And I saw him in Abuja today, and the turnout of the people.
Hashimu's train was terminating at APC campaign office in Wuse, where APC women leader was on hand to receive him on behalf of the wife of the president-elect, Hajia Aisha Buhari.
It's a sacrifice. It's a voluntary move. We don't even know him.
The celebration of the arrival of Abubakar Hashimu promises to go well into the night. In Abuja, Mohammed Hamish Rogo, NTA News.
And also, correspondent Moromoke Oroyomi brings us more on the reception for Suleiman Hashimu in Abuja.
The whole of FCT awaits the arrival of the man who embarked on a mysterious journey from Lagos to Abuja on his foot just to celebrate General Muhammadu Buhari's victory.
It was indeed a fulfilled promise to the president-elect General Muhammadu Buhari by one of his supporters, Suleiman Hashimu, who promised to trek from Lagos to Abuja if he becomes the president. The journey, which began as soon as General Buhari was declared the winner of the 2015 presidential election, eventually came to an end in Abuja. An overwhelming crowd of FCT residents were on ground for Suleiman's arrival. Suleiman spoke on how he was able to fulfill his aspiration.
I started it on Thursday after the announcement of the result of Actually, there's no way you travel without seeing any challenge. There are so many challenges. We cannot discuss here.
Following his arrival, there was serious traffic gridlock in many roads that lead into the city center. In Abuja, Moromoke Oluyori, NTA News.
Now, Minister of State Health Fidelis Nwanko, at a media briefing in Abuja, told journalists that epidemiological findings indicate a strong linkage of the outbreak of the disease with the consumption of a local gene that may have been contaminated with ethanol. Now, the National Steering Committee on the Second Peer Review of Nigeria has held a one-day sensitization workshop on African peer review mechanism for the stakeholders in the North Central Geopolitical Zone. Olayanju Oriomi reports that the workshop, which took place in Minna, is aimed at encouraging conformity to political, economic and corporate governance amongst African countries, including Nigeria.
As the member states of the African Union as a monetary mechanism to
We're sorry for the poor visuals of that report. We'll bring it to you in our subsequent news belt. Now, South African government to deploy army to tackle migrant attacks, and Egyptian outside President Morsi jailed for 20 years as captain of the sunk migrant boat in Mediterranean faces legal charges. These and more on Global Tidbits with Ronke Kolawole.
Since the outbreak of xenophobic attacks on foreigners in South Africa, the Defense Minister Mapisa Kwakula says soldiers will be redeployed to Alexandra Township, north of the main city of Johannesburg, to end the wave of attacks. In Egypt, former President Mohamed Morsi has been convicted for 20 years for ordering the arrest and torture of protesters during his administration. Report says Morsi was jailed alongside 14 members of his banned Muslim Brotherhood movement, but his legal team says an appeal will be made. Meanwhile, the Tunisian captain of the boat that capsized off Libya on Sunday, leaving hundreds of migrants dead, has been charged with multiple homicide. Elsewhere, a suicide bomb attack on a United Nations vehicle in the main city of Somalia's Puntland region has killed 7 people. The UN Children's Fund UNICEF says 4 of its staff were among the dead. Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attack. In Russia, Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev opens up on his nation's economy, says it has shrunk by 2% in the first 3 months of 2015, attributing the fall to pressure of Western sanctions and weak oil price. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
Now let's bring you up to date with the latest sports news. Nigeria Football Federation has finally unveiled Stephen Keshi as a new Super Eagles coach. Fisayo Gonfuyi has details on our sports update.
Stephen Okechukwu Keshi has been unveiled as the head coach of the Super Eagles after putting pen to paper for a new 2-year contract. The signing ceremony, which was held at the media center of the Abuja National Stadium, was attended by some NFF board members and management staff. Briefing the media, Stephen Keshi appealed for understanding between the technical crew, the board members, as well as the media. He said Nigerians should forget about the failure of the country to qualify for the last Africa Cup of Nations.
And if we all team up together, stay together as one, the sky is the limit for Nigeria. I just want to tell you guys that this is a new page in Nigerian football. We're going to do everything that we know we're going to give for Nigeria to be up there.
The NFF Vice President who represented the President, Sheyi Akinwumi, who signed on behalf of the Glass House, said this is a new era as the board has pledged to work harmoniously with the new head coach.
The board remained resolute in its desire to think long-term and to ensure that as administrators, the appointment of the coach of the Super Eagles was part of a holistic strategy and not just a knee-jerk reaction to the yearnings of the public.
This is a new beginning. And the executive committee will certainly, with Mr. Keshi, take Nigerian football where nobody has ever taken it to.
Stephen Keshi won the Nations Cup as the captain of the Super Eagles in 1994 in Tunisia and as a coach in 2013 in South Africa. 10 matches will be played on Wednesday in the midweek fixtures of the Nigerian Premier Football League. Dolphins Football Club of Port Harcourt engages Rangers International of Enugu, Heartland of Owerri faces Abia Warriors, Nasarawa United confront Kano Pillars, while Wiki Tories welcome Warri Wolves. With Sports News Update, Fisayo Gunfui, NTA News.
That's how it's being nationwide today. Thank you for watching. For more news, join us again at 7 and 9 p.m. for the Network News. I'm Rhoda.